and gentlemen of the internet, how you all doing? I do hope you're all having a fantastic day. So, let's talk about the game against Schalke. Because honestly, the game was quite good. Honestly, it was. I felt personally it was one of our better games. Not because we won 4-0. You know, it's not because it was a victory, but I thought it was because we controlled the game for a large part of the game. Of course, they had some chances here and there, but there was no like one pass and our whole defense was completely wiped out. And that's basically my big criticism over the past couple of weeks and months, that like one simple pass and suddenly our whole defense falls apart. Well, not our defense, but it just bypasses our midfield and then it's like immediately against our defense, and that's kind of been my big criticism of the season so far. Now, we didn't control the game 100%, but we controlled it to the point where even I, you know, my opinion is so important here. No, but even I was very satisfied. Kimmich, I've been criticizing him since his return from injury. Not in the sense like, you know, if you've been watching my previous video, not in the sense of like, oh, he's absolutely useless, but just in the sense that he hasn't been as good as he was before his injury, since he came back from his injury. And I feel like he only had one really good half of football, and that was when he played as a right back. Guess what? Brilliant. The kid was absolutely spectacular, right? There are two players. I can't even say that, right? I can't even say what I was about to say, but the closest two players I actually like, and when I say like, I'm talking about like the closest, the two players that I'm the closest, like, okay, I'm a fan of them, are Kimmich and Müller. Those are the two players, honestly. Like everyone else, even then, it's not as far. Like if you compare how much I liked Philipp Lahm, there is no player in world football right now that really I would say I'm a big fan of. Like Kimmich, I like because I see how good he is and how most importantly how consistent he is. For me, that's the most important thing. Müller, I like as well for the consistency aspect. Even when he has a bad game, even when he has a bad season, he still creates, and that's what I like. I like play, and he still puts the effort in. And that's kind of my whole thing. For me, it's not so much about the peak potential. For me, it's more so about the consistency. Always has been, always will be, and that probably won't change. I naturally gravitate more towards defensive players, which is why I'm always much more critical of the defense than the attack, because I used to play in defense, so I kind of look at it with a critical view. But I liked what I saw. In terms of the players that were playing. Sula, as a right back, really good again. Obviously, now the questions have to be asked: is Sarr really good enough? I know I'm in a minority here, because you know I know how the Bayern fan base thinks, and I know I'm in a minority when I say this, but for me, he's actually been relatively good. I know Bayern, they're good relative to what I expected from him. Like, he's not been bad, but people are making out like he's been absolutely atrocious when he hasn't. He just hasn't been, you know, world class, excellent. But he's been solid whenever he's played, and I know people don't want to hear that, but now he's been left out of the squad for quite a few times. Doesn't really make the matchday team anymore, so yeah, and Sula's now playing on right back again, right back over him. Before you could make the argument, well, you know, Sarr and Pavard, they weren't really, they were injured or they weren't really 100%, so on and so forth. But now with them all being 100%, Sula still being playing right back as an alternative to Pavard, I think that says more than anything really. So we don't know what the future holds for Sarr, but we'll see. In terms of, Alaba scored, right? Alaba scored, was a pretty good goal actually. Although to be fair, it should have been saved. But I'm not gonna talk too much about that. In terms of our defensive shape, I actually thought we were pretty solid. Again, we didn't. It's usually not our defense that's the issue. It's usually our midfield. It's usually when I say the midfield, I mean like the midfield five. You know, the three attackers from the midfield and the midfield itself. That kind of lack the pressing, the intensity that has been shown this season, and those, you know, one simple pass and suddenly, you know, it's 1-1 as the defense, and that's kind of the big issue. But we had the intensity throughout the whole 90 minutes. Goretzka running 90 minutes, Kimmich running 90 minutes. So just from that perspective, I really like what I saw. There is an argument that some people are making that, like, is Rocha ever going to get some games? Is he ever going to get some games? For me, it's a very simple case. Look, I've said this. I've said it maybe once, maybe multiple times during the season. For me, it's like this: we didn't have a preseason. Which means that like these newcomers, these new players, and that includes Sané, that includes Sarr as well, that includes Choupo-Moting. You know, these new players, they didn't really have the time to integrate with the squad. We don't have a summer season preseason. We didn't have a winter preseason. So for me, to just based on like me playing football. Granted, it wasn't at a professional level, nowhere near that. But just for me playing on a football for a few years, right, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it was. Whenever a new coach came, there was always difficulty. There was always difficulty because they have their own philosophies, they have their own ideas, they have their own ways, styles of playing, and you really need those training sessions. Now, granted, with amateur clubs, it's a lot easier to get those training sessions because you could just be like, well, we don't have a game, haha, just sit back and train, just sit back and play. That's basically what training was, playing. But like, in a professional level, you really do need like these, unless you're very accustomed to a system. You really do need at least some form of proper tactical training, because predominantly what you learn in the week-to-week fitness training and whatnot, that's fitness. As I just said, it's mainly fitness, and maybe you train one or two run pathways where you run to, or pathways on how to defend, or like certain key aspects, but you don't learn the whole thing. You don't learn the whole setup of the team. And that's why I do think once we have a proper preseason where the players, if we have a proper preseason, we've got the Euros, we've got so many things coming up, but if we have a proper preseason, I do feel like the players could do significantly better and will probably be given a lot more time. My worry is that, like, even when the players have looked good, they still haven't had time. So I don't know if it's really down to that or just not, players suiting Flick's system. There is an argument to be made if whether the board has let Flick down, or whether there's an argument to be made that Flick should be able to do with what he's been given, and make lemonade out of lemons, essentially. There's an argument to be made for both. There's either way, I think, is a valid argument to be made, to be completely honest. But let's talk a little bit about Kimmich. Let's talk, right? 3 assists. Nice. I hate this word. World class. I hate this word, and I hate it for one reason. People throw that word around way too much. For me, world class means you're top 3 in your positions. In your position, right? And for wingers, that's extremely difficult. You're top 3 left winger, top 3 right winger. There are plenty of good wingers in the world, but to be world class, you need to be in the top 3 in every position. So that's why I hate this word, because people throw it around for every player. They throw it around for every single player, all right? And for me, that's just no. That's a no-go. If you call every player world class, then no player is world class, all right? But here's the thing. Kimmich is world class. And I know there is an argument to be made, should he be a right back? Should he be a midfielder? I've always said, I can't even say one of my first videos, but during like the first or second year of this channel, right, when we acquired Kimmich, and he was playing centre back under Pep, and then later on he was converted to a right back. I was the first person. Nah, I wasn't the first person, right? I wasn't the first person, but I was pretty much the first person that made a video. Ooh, if I don't forget, I'll have it linked in the corner, right? But I was one of the first people that said Kimmich is not a right back, he's a midfielder. And I will not have people slander him as a right back, because the only good aspects of him as a right back are his distribution and some aspects of his defending. But it's not good enough defending for me. But the offensive countries, again, people make the argument, well, nowadays a fullback is more so about attacking than defending. No. It's always about defending. Defending first. That's, for me, the most important. It's the cornerstone of the role, alright? When you think of your back four, you think, okay, 4 defenders. You don't think, oh, okay, 2 defenders and 2 attackers. No. I don't care if you have 50 assists in a season as a right back and then you ship 50 goals from your side. No. First and foremost, you need to defend, which is why Lam will always be my favorite player. It's very, very simple, because he was consistently good. Consistently great, actually. Now, you all know I value consistency a lot. Kimmich has that consistency. I know I mentioned that, after his injury, he hasn't been the same. But that's okay. That's not a mark on consistency for me. For me, a mark against someone's consistency or lack thereof comes down predominantly to them having bad spells when they shouldn't. Coming back from an injury and not being at full pace, that's fine. That's fine. But, a different example. I fully expect someone like Neuer, good example. Someone like Neuer. I fully expect someone like Neuer, once they've been, once they come back from an injury, which we've had, and they've played and they struggle, okay, that's fine. I don't mind that. But like once there is this break, whether that's a winter break, whether that's a summer break, once there is a break, and once they've had time to regenerate, they've had a few games to, get back into match sharpness, that's when I expect them to be consistent. When they're at peak condition, right? Kimmich. Ah, I like consistency. I like free assists from my midfielder. Fun thing is, right? A few weeks ago, I posted my all-time Bayern 11. And I mentioned how Kimmich, by the time he probably finishes his career at Bayern, he'll probably be there in midfield next to Matthäus. I fully believe that. Now, I don't want to put this, it's not really pressure, but I don't really want to put this expectation on him. But the thing that makes him so good isn't so much his crossing, his passing. It's his defensive contribution combined with his offensive contribution. If it was just one or the other, for example, Lothar Matthäus, right? Destroyer, absolute destroyer. There are websites, right, for those of you guys too young, or that they didn't really watch football until recently being the last 20 years. But there are websites where you can go to. I won't name them. That's not my job. But there are plenty of websites, right? A simple Google search can help you out, where you can find football games from Bayern all the way back from 1958. So you can watch football games all the way from 1958 to today. That's all I'm going to say, right? There are plenty of websites like that, and I won't mention them for obvious reasons. But do yourself a favor and watch Lothar Matthäus. Watch 20 games. Watch 20 games from Bayern at that period, right? And you realize, or Inter, there are some great Inter games that you can watch. There was one, Inter versus Napoli. Ooh, that was a great game. That was an actual great game. I only watched that recently, 3-4 months ago. Inter versus Napoli was a really, really good game. Essentially decided the title. And you just see how good Lothar Matthäus actually is. He was a destroyer. But that's the thing. He wasn't just a defensive midfielder. He also really worked as a number 10. So he was good in both sides. He'd be the kind of player that would get drunk 5 hours before the game, and then he would still run 90 minutes, 90 minutes plus. That's basically the best way to describe it. Kimmich isn't that. Kimmich, to me, I said this already, to me he reminds me more of an Effenberg. Someone that is summed up by his, I don't want to say passion. Passion is such a cop-out. It's such a cop-out. It's such a cop-out answer. Oh, yeah, you got passion. If you don't have passion, you can't be good, That's BS. That's BS of the highest order, right? Passion only gets you so far in life. I've had passion. I've had plenty of passion. Look at me. I'm sitting here in front of a camera talking about football instead of being out there on the pitch playing football, So passion is not going to do shizzle, right? But he's got and hunger. I was going to use the word hunger here, but that's the same as passion. It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out answer, right? He's got the drive. The drive. I think that's a good word. The drive, right? The drive to want to win. Not the passion for the game. I think 99% of players that play football love football. There are a few players that play football that don't, just view it as a job. But majority of people love football. Only few of them, a tiny percentile, will ever be world class. And those are the players that push themselves harder. Those are the players that play, that go forward when people tell them to stop. And that's not just in football, that's in life. Ooh, life lesson. Life lesson with me. Why should he listen to me? Ooh, well, I don't know. I was going to try and give you a reason, but I don't know. I don't know why you should listen to me over someone else. Truth is this, though, right? Truth is this. At the end of the day, it's clear by his attitude that he is someone that expects and wants 100% from himself and from the team. And that's all I want, right? That's all I want. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to. It's so simple, right? I don't need them to win every single game. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But when I feel like they're not putting effort in, that's when I have an issue. That's when I have an issue. And that's kind of the feeling that I've had in the past couple of weeks and months. Lack of pressing, yes, you could say that's lack of effort, but lack of desire. Lack of desire, that's really what it boils down. Lack of desire. There was one quote that really stuck out to me, and that was from Thomas Müller. And that was during the Leipzig game 3 months ago, whenever that game happened. There was a quote that he said, well, it was either him or someone else that said that, Müller said that. And that is that Müller, I don't know who he was talking to, I think it was Neuer, and I think the game ended like 2-2, or was it 3-3? The game either ended 3-3, yeah, it ended 3-3. There was a quote from him that came out that he was like, in like the last 5 minutes, he was like talking to Neuer and saying, should we go all out here, try and get the win, but we might concede doing so. And then they decided, no, let's not. The 1 point is better than the 3 points. I don't mind that. Let me make that clear. I don't, because I know people will say like, well, you want passion. You want them to show effort. Yes. But there is a reckless attack, a reckless drive forward, and there is smart. There is clever. And that's kind of what I want. I want the team to be good. Good, hungry, sharp. And you combine all, but clever. And I feel like that's kind of what Kimmich personifies. Good, clever, sharp, and hungry. Those 4 qualities. Now it also helps, and maybe doesn't help, that Kimmich hasn't won, say, a World Cup. He hasn't won the Euros. Whereas plenty of the players that he's playing with have won World Cup, have won Euros. So that might certainly help, not just Kimmich, but like the new generation in the team. Kimmich, Goretzka, Confit, nobody cares about Confit Cup. But like, Kimmich, Goretzka, Sané wasn't part of the Confit Cup, but yes, Sané, that just shows how little players care about the Confit Cup. Sané could have gone to the Confit. It was like, nah, I'm getting a nose operation. Screw the Confit Cup. I'm staying at home, bro. So that says it all. That says it all about how little these players actually value the Confit Cup. Gnabry, these players, they've won the Champions League. Well, with the exception of Sané now, of course. But these players, they've won the Champions League. And yes, Gnabry and Sané are currently going through like a relatively rough patch. But Sané is still putting up numbers. His performances isn't that great, but he's still very prolific. He's still very clinical. So he's still putting up numbers. He's still contributing to the game. He might not contribute to the game as a whole as good as we perhaps would have expected him to, considering the kind of player that he is and considering his price tag. But he's still contributing in terms of scorer points. Gnabry is pretty much the exact opposite. Gnabry in the past 4 or 5 games has been really, really good in terms of impact on the game. He's been very, very strong in terms of contributing to the game. He just hasn't been contributing to the goals. So I'm not too worried. It's kind of like forcing it. We all know that. When you really want something and you like do so much and try and you just keep failing at it. You 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 keep failing at it. And then when you stop trying as hard, it just works. And that's kind of Gnabry right now. I feel like he's trying too hard. But I'd much rather see him try that hard, considering I felt like at the beginning of the season he didn't try that hard, and now he's trying hard, but it's still not succeeding. So it didn't work when he wasn't trying as hard, and now he's trying hard, and hopefully sooner or later it succeeds. Now, you all know what I said previously in the past already, and that is that I've said this multiple times actually, I thought, and I believe that even now, Schalke was the turning point. I've said this like 5 weeks ago. Schalke was the Schalke. I said Schalke will be the turning point, and now I'm saying Schalke is the turning point. What I mean by that is very simple. I've said this already. I think what we needed, like to get us out of this kind of slump that we were in, was one good performance. One good performance, like a good 90-minute performance. And the game against Schalke wasn't flawless. There are still most certainly aspects that can be worked on, but it was a good performance, something a good foundation, and now we can kind of build from that. And I knew we were going to beat Schalke. Like all these like games that we've drawn, lost, conceded, so on and so forth. I knew we were going to beat Schalke. Schalke is like Hamburg, all right? We can, like, it actually doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good they are or how they've turned a corner. It doesn't even matter how bad Bayern is. We'll still beat these teams, and that's just the way it is. We will still beat these teams, all right? That's just the fact of life. That's just the fact of life, right? It's like Werder Bremen. Like, we will beat them. We will beat them. I'm not worried, all right? I'm not worried. Like, when we play, there are certain teams that we can beat whatever happens, right? And then there are certain teams we just struggle against, no matter what. And those teams are Gladbach and Leverkusen. Like, those are the two teams, all right? That we really struggle against. And I guess Leipzig, we really haven't beaten them recently. Besides the 4-3. You know, have we beaten them in the league besides the 4-3? I can't even remember now. But yeah. Point is, I do think from this last victory, and I know the game has now been happened like 3 days ago, so I've been having a terrible headache, like paracetamol out left, right, and center. Like, I've been having a terrible headache, where I basically just sat in bed and watch football. Sat in bed and watched some football. Watching currently some league. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Some League 2 football, but yeah. Point is this, right? I feel like this is going to be the turning point. This is the performance that we needed to kind of build our season, to kind of do well. That's kind of where we are. So for me, it's very, very simple. I do truly believe that, you know, we can build from this and we can now move forward. Hopefully I'm not wrong. But yeah, I would like to see a few things change though. A few things. These are just selfish desires. First of all, I want Goretzka to get a break. Because he has been our one midfielder. Well, okay, he has gotten some tiny injuries, right? But he's been our one midfielder, really, that has been consistently in the starting 11 this season. So I just want him to get a little bit of a break. Ideally, I would like to see a little bit of rotation in the next couple of games, just so that players are sharp for the end of the season. Because we've got, now we've got a week off now, but like then we have the Club World Cup. We've got the game against Hoffenheim. We've got Hertha Berlin. We've got Lazio. So we've got a bunch of games coming up, and I'd much rather have our players not get injured. My stomach hurts. I'd much rather have the players not get injured. And wow, my stomach really hurts right now. Sorry, take too many painkillers here, but hey. But yeah, I'd much rather have the players not play too much and then get a rest, and that applies to all the players. But obviously, you can't retort. I would have done that so ages ago. Like I would have done. I was asked a couple of weeks ago, like what would I do? To get the form back. I said I would have played all the kids. For a game or two, I would have played all the kids to make the established players recognize that, you know what, you have to play 100%. You have to play for the badge. Now, granted, we didn't do that, and now we seemingly, I don't want to speak too soon, but we seemingly have turned a corner. Seemingly an upward trajectory. But I do want the players not to get injured. So for me, it's a case of give them some rest. Goretzka specifically, he's been playing a lot of games. Müller as well. He's been playing pretty much every game, honestly. Sané, Gnabry. I'd still play both of them. Because you want them to. With Gnabry, I feel like once he gets one goal, I think like everything is sorted. Like I truly do think so. Like once he gets one goal, or like has like one performance where he gets like a goal or 2 goals or a goal and an assist, something like that, I feel like he'll do really, really well. Then his season will kick off. Sané, I feel like he needs to come back, because he either has good performances, and no goal, or he has like a goal or assist and a relatively mediocre performance. I feel like he needs one good performance rewarded with one goal or one assist, and I think his season will kick off. So I feel like those two I'd still play. Maybe try Gnabry in number 10 with Coman on the wing. Or maybe Sané in number 10 with Coman on the wing. I don't know. Our left back has been rotated quite heavily, so I'm not even too fussed there. Our right back with Pavard, Sule, and Sarr. I'm okay with how we're rotating there. Our centre backs, I would love to see just one game, just for one game or two, Pavard as a centre back, and obviously Kouassi, Nianzou. I can't wait till he's. I mean, he's seemingly fully back, but I can't wait till he's like playing. I've got very high hopes from him. Yeah, and that's really what it was. Neuer, you could play Nubel, you could play him, but like goalkeeper, it's one of those positions where I'm not really like in terms of rotation. I'm not really like that big on, but like I would love to see the players getting rotated, especially like the fringe players, the players that aren't currently doing too well for the team, that haven't found their form this season. You know, your likes of again, your likes of Gnabry. I feel like Lewandowski actually. I know Lewandowski has scored an obscene amount of goals, but I feel like his actual overall game hasn't been that great in the last 2 months. I thought his overall game was a lot better in the first 10-15 games of the season. But since then, I feel like his overall game has been very poor, actually. I think he's become a moment player, which there is nothing wrong with that. But considering that, his big strength is always his hold-up play, his involvement in the play, I feel like that's kind of like diminished a little bit. But then again, he still scores goals. He still scores a crucial goal, so on and so forth. So I can't complain too much, but I definitely do think that Lewandowski has certainly played better before. He's certainly been more involved in the game, and that's kind of the thing that I'm missing from him right now. So yeah, I mean, for me, if it was up to me, right, the next game against Hoffenheim hasn't been doing too good this season. They've beat us, and since then they disappeared off the face of the earth. Now, granted, Kramaric was injured for a long period of time, and he's now back, so who knows? But I look at it all, I'm just like, if it was up to me, right? If it was truly up to me, I think the next game, I don't know how fit Nianzou is, so I won't include him in this. But in the next game, what I would play is Neuer. Right back, I'll play Sarr. Pavard, a centre back. Richards. I think Davies needs a few more minutes. So Davies, Rocker. I'll pair him with Kimmich. For one simple reason, you do still need a stability in the field. Like, you don't just want to like throw in completely fringe players in. You do still want stability in midfield. So Kimmich next to Rocker, or Javi next to Rocker. I think either way would be great. And then I'd play the front three. No Musiala. No, I'd play. I play Sané, Musiala, Gnabry. Actually, I'd play Coman. Sorry, Sané, Musiala, Coman, Gnabry as a striker. That's how I would line up for the next game. That's how I would line up. For me, why? The French players get some minutes. Some of the more busy players will get some time off. Some rest. I know they're getting a week off right now, but I'd much rather have 2 weeks. And we then kick on from there. It's Hoffenheim. I'm not too worried about the game against Hoffenheim, to be completely honest, either. And I feel like we can build from that. And that's kind of how I would do it. Now, granted, Do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right? Flick, if you're watching this, which I know you are, line up, put that lineup out there like that next week. Then I know that you're watching this. Then I know that you're watching this, all right? But yeah, no. We've got a bunch of games going up, obviously. As I said, the Club World Cup is coming up. So there's a ton of games that are happening, a ton of good stuff. And we've got a bunch of games to look forward to. We've got a bunch of exciting highlights that we have to look forward to. So for me, it's very simple. I like the game against Schalke. I know we talk very little about the game against Schalke, but it's 30 minutes, right? There's only so much you can talk about the game. So yeah, I will see you. Oof, my stomach really, really hurts. Like I've took like 50 painkillers today. Probably why. Probably why. I'll come back like next week, like that, with a stomach like that. But yeah, shoot. I will see all of you, ladies and gentlemen, in the next one. Everyone, until then, mind over matter. Very clearly. But yeah, I'll see you all next time. Have a nice day. Peace out and